What's up, everybody? Welcome to yet another episode of Action Movie Anatomy. We are covering the Tony Scott classic and groundbreaking action film Top Gun today. Stick with us as Andrew and I break down one of the greatest films, possibly the greatest action film of all time. We'll see you in 1 second.
Welcome to Popcorn Talk, featuring movie discussion, news, and interviews. Popcorn Talk, we talk movies. And now, here's Popcorn Talk's Action Movie Anatomy.
Boom! What's up, everybody? Welcome to the show. Welcome to Wednesday afternoon. Welcome to yet another episode of Action Movie Anatomy, talking about Top Gun. Son, your ego's writing checks your body can't cash. This is a groundbreaking film, one of the most important action movies ever. Very polarizing, as you'll find out. But this is episode 51.
51
of Action Movie Anatomy. We have done almost 1 year's worth of episodes, but we crossed our 50th episode last week. 2 weeks ago, actually.
Yeah.
We did 2 weeks episodes worth of The Rock.
We had to.
Yes. As fun as it gets. So go ahead and watch it. The Rock followed by Top Gun. It's a big two.
Yeah. I mean, The Rock is, in our opinions, or is my opinion, is the greatest 90s action movie of all time.
Yeah.
And in a lot of people's opinions, Top Gun is the greatest 80s action movie of all time.
It's extremely important and iconic, whatever it is.
Whatever it is.
Yeah. So we're going to be covering the movie today, guys. This is Action Movie Anatomy on the Popcorn Talk Network, the online broadcast network dedicated to talking movies and all things movie related. I'm your host, Ben Bateman, joined today by Mr. Andrew Ghai.
What's up, everybody? I'm here. I'm excited to talk about Top Gun. What is it, 30 years now?
30 years ago this week, Top
Wow.
Gun opened in theaters.
That's crazy.
Yes, Tom Cruise invented his own version of worldwide press in accordance with this film, because he was doing this movie and working on several others. The 80s, this period of his career, were insane. We'll talk about that in Star Breakdown, but the number of high-profile projects he was doing, and that's kind of how he's been, is he just goes back to back to back to back to back on movies. He never takes time off. So he was like...
He's a true movie star.
Yeah, he was like, why don't we just, rather than, doing press here and there, and he was like, why don't we just fly all around and do all of them, like, back to back to back to back to back days. So he went all around Europe and all around the world doing press on this movie.
He's such a badass.
Yeah,
He just can't. He's like, you know what? It's like doing the one thing that a lot of actors don't like to do. It's
Yeah.
like, we'll just do it. We'll just do it this way. We'll do it the most effective way.
Yeah, so this is, I remember listening to an interview with him at one point talking about this was the one where he was like, because there was a lot of press on this movie. It was a huge, huge movie.
Which is weird because a lot of people didn't think it was going to do that well before it came out.
Well, that's, I think, in a lot of ways why it's such an important movie, is because it was kind of the movie that broke the mold in a lot of ways. It's hard to point to, like, blockbuster action movies as big as this before this.
Right.
It's sort of brand of, like, popcorn action that it kind of, like... I don't know, it became an icon. It became like a totem for this kind of movie. You can't really think of movies before this that had the same kind of thing. Like Star Wars and movies like that, Indiana Jones, they're huge, but in a very different way.
Yeah, they're good movies.
Well, they're adventure movies. They're adventure movies that have like real story.
Yeah, this was like, I mean, this could be like one of the first true popcorn action movies.
Right, this is like the Fast and the Furious,
Yeah.
or like some movie like that, where it's just, you're going into it, you're like, this is going to be silly and fun, which is precisely what it is.
Yeah,
It made
exactly.
so much money, and it was so successful. So in any case, guys, we talk about action movies on the show. The action movies we talk about, generally speaking, as well as being made after 1981, adhere to 4 basic rules. So rule number 1, the hero always plays by their own rules. Maverick definitely plays by his own rules.
Doesn't have any rules other than his own.
No.
Requesting a flyby.
Requesting a flyby? I don't give a fuck if you want a flyby. Rule number 2, the hero and the villain are always the smartest people, beings, things, dinosaurs, aliens, what have you, in the room. It's a little weird in this one because there isn't really a villain.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you had to choose a villain, it'd be Val Kilmer.
Yeah, it's like Val Kilmer, or it's like
The MiG
the
pilots.
MiGs, yeah, something like that. And I guess it's Kilmer. He's like his adversary.
And he
throughout
is the
movie.
smartest guy in the room. He's a better pilot than Cruise.
Yeah, well,
Better.
maybe.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's proven later that he's not.
He's not at all.
He's the best.
He's the best.
Rule number 3, the movie is driven by a police, military, or political figure. They are definitely military.
Yes, they
and
are.
Rule number 4, the movie contains a minimum of 1 explosion. I mean, in a lot of ways...
It fits.
Well, in a lot of ways, this movie is kind of like this is like the prototype. Like this is what you're going after. Like explosions are there just to be explosions, and like the hero being the smartest guy in the room is like a prerequisite for this movie ever to have having worked. Like you needed a guy that was that cocky.
Yeah.
So it's like it's funny when you think about all the rules and how we've evolved in the 30 years since this movie. But we'll talk about whether this is a good movie or how it's good as we go through the episode. So we're gonna start out by letting you guys know that we personally are on Twitter, and so is the podcast. You guys have been really awesome recently, actually, about getting on the podcast Twitter, AMA Podcast, as it is. We've gotten some new followers, some comments. People have been leaving their thoughts. You can find me personally at Ben Bateman Media.
And you can find me at Andrew Ghai.
If you guys want to share your thoughts, you want to tell us you agree or don't agree with things that we have to say. And of course, if you rate, review, and leave your thoughts on iTunes, that is extremely helpful. A lot of you guys have done it, but we provide free content. We want to continue to provide free content. We can do it if you guys help us stay high in the standings. Rate, review, all of those things. It is very helpful for us to continue to do the show. So,
And we just love reading what you write.
yes, absolutely. Because we love to talk about action movies.
We need positive reaffirmation.
I want you to go and leave us a review. Nothing would make me happier.
Except for in this movie, it's more like, I want you to go leave us a review. He sounds like a kid in this movie.
His
It's
voice-
so crazy how young he is in this film.
Yeah, it's really wild.
And he looks different. Like, he looks different and he sounds different because
Tooth is
he's
a little
so
screwed
damn
up.
young.
Yeah, I mean, the earliest cruise movie we had done on the show thus far, I don't think we've done any classic cruise on the show,
No.
right?
No.
Because we haven't done MI1.
And even then, it's not the same as this.
No, that's almost 10 years later.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about Risky Business, but really we didn't do... Yeah, we haven't tackled Young Cruise yet.
No.
This is like our 6th cruise movie now or something? 6th or 7th, I think?
We're going to run out real soon.
Definitely not.
You need to keep
100%.
making Jack Reachers.
I mean, if we... Okay, like, just so before we get into the trailer, like, how many cruise action movies are left for us to do?
Collateral.
Collateral, yep.
Jack Reacher.
Yep. Jack Reacher 2, which will be out in
Jack
the fall.
Reacher 2, yes. So that's 3.
We could do Oblivion if we wanted.
We could.
There's the first 2 Mission Impossibles.
Definitely need to do number 2.
Yeah, and we could probably do one.
Yeah,
at
we'll
some
do
point.
one day.
That's 7.
They'll probably, by that point, there'll probably be a 6th Mission Impossible out. That'll be his
And
last
a
one.
second Edge of Tomorrow.
And a second Edge of Tomorrow.
We could, if we wanted, do War of the Worlds. I don't think we would.
could. Yeah, that's
doesn't
an interesting
really
one.
Feel like us. That's like 7 or 8 right there. And I think like some of the '90s stuff, like there's like Days of Thunder.
Yeah.
There's like
They just feel so different.
yeah. You hate Young Cruise.
I don't hate Young Cruise. I just...
Well, I thought it was really interesting what you said to me when we
Like,
were
I
watching
love Risky
this.
Business.
I thought it was interesting though when we were watching this, when you said you were like,
Oh,
watching
yeah.
this movie reminds me of before I like learned to love him via the show.
Yeah.
Why I used to hate Tom Cruise.
Absolutely. This movie absolutely reminded me of why I hated Tom Cruise.
I think, and for a lot of people, it's the same way. Young Tom Cruise, like he's so like exuberant. He's got the big smile and the teeth.
Charisma and the cockiness.
Yeah,
Which is cool, but I don't know why it used to rub me the wrong way.
I seriously think like there was a lot of people that when the switch turned on him in 06, I think there was a lot of people that were like, I've always hated Tom Cruise.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I was one of them.
always
Even though I
hated him.
watched his movies and I
Yeah.
enjoyed them,
Right.
it was still like one of those things like, whatever, dude, fuck you then.
Yeah.
You know, like...
He's like a lot of these guys who are like some of my favorites, right? So like Tom
Swayze.
Brady or like Kobe Bryant. Like it's the similar effect on a lot of these people where it's like they stuck at it long enough. They stayed
to
good
where they earn your respect.
for long enough
Yeah.
that they earned the respect of the people that were like, you know what? I just can't deny.
You truly go full circle with all those people you just said.
Yeah, it's like you're like watching MI4. You're like, I just can't deny this guy's just awesome.
Yeah.
Like he's just good. And like, yeah, I like Jerry Maguire. And like, yes, I like A Few Good Men. Like I'm not going to deny those are sweet movies.
And yeah, Risky Business is fun to watch. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Like, but there's something about this. I think. Okay, let's move on to the show because
Yeah.
I'm going to give away too much of my stuff.
Yeah,
we
no
got,
problem.
We got a trailer here.
Yeah, so let's cue up the Top Gun trailer.
It's real good.
Real good trailer.
Real good.
Already feels good.
Present day.
Gotta love that 80s pan flute.
Yeah, right.
Just want to serve my country, be the best fighter pilot in the Navy, sir. You want to know who the best is? That's him, Iceman.
Iceman.
The way he flies, ice cold, no mistake.
So
You
sweet.
need
The way
he
to be
flies,
cleaner,
ice cold,
better,
no
and
mistake.
cleaner than the other guys. I'm Maverick.
Maverick? Does your mother not like you or something?
I gotta do something here. I still can't believe it. I gotta give you your dream shot. You two characters
I'm going to Top
are going
Gun.
to Top Gun.
Even though you're a couple of slackers.
Naval aviators. The elite. We'll make it better.
We'll make you better.
What's that? Who's the best pilot?
I'm an instructor at this school. I see 20 new hot shots every 8 weeks.
Every time you go up in the air, you're unsafe.
That's right.
That's right.
And dangerous.
Nice.
Not
Man.
flying.
It's okay. I think the reason you don't like him is because he's not believable.
Cruise?
like young Cruise. Like, and I'm dangerous. No, you're not.
Definitely in this movie, he's not
I
believable.
can't
I
afford
mean,
to blow this. You're the only family I've got.
or he is, but like believable as a fuck. Like, who would ever like this guy?
No, exactly.
Yeah.
That's
10 more seconds, then I've got him.
I'm not gonna let you down.
I was thinking about that. Like, what woman in her right mind would ever fall for Tom Cruise in this movie?
Yeah.
Like, ever. He's the worst.
He's the worst. He's like a cocky little emotional shithead.
Maverick, you back him up with Merlin on Ready 5.
Yes, sir.
There are MiGs in the area and tensions are high. If you witness a hostile act, you will return fire. Gentlemen, this is the real thing. This is what you've been trained for.
3 MiGs dead ahead, coming down the left side.
It is crazy that he's able to avoid those 5 MiGs for as long as he does.
Oh, yeah.
Nice man.
I got a good lock. Fire! Firing.
Pump the brakes, he'll fly right by us.
Tom Cruise.
Kelly McGillis.
Top Gun.
Love that Kelly McGillis is billed as the other top
Yeah.
in this movie, and like in retrospect, it's just like nope, like not even a little.
Not
bit.
even a little bit.
Yeah, like doesn't even chart. So that is the trailer
real sweet.
for 1986's Top Gun.
Tom Cruise. Kelly McGillis.
Oh, speaking of which, should we get into action movie tagline?
I think we should.
So this is the thing we started doing a little bit back, guys, where we essentially take the little taglines that we used to read on boxes of movies at the video store when we would go to the video store as kids, and we come up with our own. And they're very often not as serious as the ones on the box. Sometimes they're a bit longer. But it's just kind of our fun way to pay homage
Holmes.
to the things that we grew up loving and the excitement of reading these quotes on the back of boxes. So, yeah, because mine's pretty good too.
I just want to, yeah, I'm so curious because you wouldn't even tell me. Like, a lot of times you'll at least tell me a little bit. You wouldn't tell me anything.
I wanted to surprise you.
Okay.
Do you want to hear it?
Do you want me to go first? You want to go first?
Why don't you go first?
Okay.
All right, boys. Time to invite Davey, Mikey, and Billy over for the ride of your lives. And don't forget the baby oil. Try to hang on to your shirts. Or don't, while you all try to find the incredible G-Force together.
It's good.
It's gay.
It's very good. It's funny. Wait, we had
it the same?
similar idea.
It's because this movie is so unintentionally homoerotic.
It is.
Okay, go ahead.
Shine it up, rub it down, and get inside. 2 men, 1 cockpit, 0 room for hesitation. Because loser's just another word for second place.
That's not bad.
Top Gun.
Top Gun.
You like it?
They're both. I like how we just hit the nail right on the head.
You can't, like, watching this movie this time through, and I've probably seen Top Gun, I don't know, 7, 8 times
I've
in my
seen it
life.
3 times.
I watched it a lot, and, like, it feels like
Why?
it just gets sillier and like seemingly like I don't know, like you just watch it, you're like, how are you guys making this movie and not just like, this really feels like we're spoofing a gay porn.
Well,
Like,
exactly, and like also the thing with like Kilmer not even wanting to be a part of the film.
Yeah.
like he didn't want to do it. He was contractually obligated
Yeah.
to do it, and it's probably because he read the script and he's just like, "What is this?"
yeah.
But I mean, it is one of his most iconic roles ever.
If you look at like if you go on IMDb and it's like, what's he known for? I'm pretty sure Top Gun's the top credit.
Yeah, because I mean, the other ones would be like
The Doors, Heat.
yeah, like those two,
Yeah, probably The
and
Doors.
The Saint.
The Saint, yeah. It's a lot like in terms of cult classics, people like love his 2 movies before this.
Mine's all about MacGruber. He's the greatest.
He's
villain
fantastic
ever.
in MacGruber. Yeah, he's really good in MacGruber. I mean, I like Kilmer. He's been good in a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But I would say those 3, yeah, probably, unless I'm forgetting one, would be his biggest.
We should do Hot Shots and Hot Shots Part 2.
On here, it would be fun to do some
sweet.
do a parody at some
Get
point.
Sheen on here.
We probably should just do MacGruber at some point.
We will. We're
Yeah.
gonna get Forte on here.
Yeah.
We're gonna do it, Will. We're
Yeah.
gonna get you.
Yeah. Well, whether or not Forte comes on, we should just do the movie.
Yeah, we gotta
Yeah.
both dress up as him.
Yeah, totally. Get Brockman in town. Brockman be the fill-in.
Yeah, absolutely.
He loses shit. And get Anthony in here. Just make sure he sits down.
Yeah,
and
he
watches
just has to sit and listen to it. Oh, it'd be horrible. Tim Backus, the writer Warrior, he's in our fantasy football league, and he sat next to our buddy Max, who is obsessed with MacGruber, and he quoted MacGruber lines for
like 4 hours.
4 hours sitting. And Anthony had no idea who he was. He hated him.
Anthony had been up all night prior to the draft. The draft's at 6 in the morning, and he was just sitting there with a throbbing headache, trying to focus and like make a good draft. Max is just wasted at 7 or 8 in the morning, and Anthony's just sitting there, just like, what is this guy doing?
This kid? What is with this kid?
Fantastic.
Anyway, so those are our action movie taglines. You guys can write your own in the live chat or on. You can do it on Twitter. I can't even talk today, man. My
YouTube.
brain is falling apart.
If you guys want to, leave your thoughts as far as if you think that you would come up with a tagline less gay than the ones we came up with,
Or better, yeah, whatever.
Yeah. And in no way is anything we're saying, by the way, derogatory or like discriminatory.
No, not at all.
And I don't mean that in like a political correctness way. I just mean like if you watch this movie, it's like really, really
is
apparent.
what it is.
Yeah, like that's just what it is. Like 100%.
Like even after Goose dies, when he's like in the bathroom talking, that might have been my fist pump. Just like Cruz all bent over and Ben's like, "That's a good look." I laughed for like a minute straight.
Cruz is in like granny panties and like Viper walks and just like stands behind him about like 6 feet behind him, but directly behind him.
Yeah, directly behind him.
Cruz is just bent over in front of him while they're talking, and you're like,
"What's happening?" And then when he's like,
Couldn't
"It's
you guys
okay,"
have blocked
he like
it?
pats him on the back and he glides his back or his hand across his back all the way down his arm and leaves.
like these things happen in movies, and like you have a sense of humor about it. We're not trying to be like bathroom humor, but it's
No.
like when it's every other scene, something happens that you're just like, huh. Weren't you guys aware of what was going on here?
Like no one saw this, no one felt this.
Another thing that's really weird about this movie is it's 1986. It's not as if like in 1986, it's not as if like we were in the same liberal climate culturally that we are now, where like
Totally.
where it's like equal opportunity and like it's like
Well, maybe it's because it wasn't talked about or it wasn't as like nationally recognized that no one would acknowledge it.
right. Well, like okay, you don't think that like pilots like essentially the same as guys in locker rooms make like they're like a little bit they're a little bit like backwoods with their sense of
I
humor.
mean, like I played sports my whole life.
Right.
Like nothing is as homoerotic as a men's locker room.
Right,
Because
and
you're
there's-
that close with all those people. It's just you're all family.
Tons of gay jokes all the time.
Yeah, always.
Yeah, it's just what happens. It's amazing. There's not one in the whole movie.
Yeah, but in this movie, it doesn't translate to the same feeling.
No.
There's never any acknowledgement. Yeah, like there's no jokes about it. It's just there.
Well, it's like funny. It's like one guy leans over to the other guy when they're talking about jets, and he's like, "This gives me a hard on," and you're like, huh? Like
You're like the other guy's not going to say anything.
is
in
that a
return?
joke?
Is that a joke?
Is it a joke?
Or does
are
he
you just
really
being
have
honest?
one?
I don't even know what to make of it. But in any case,
All right,
so
yeah, those are our taglines.
let's move into a thesis statement, which, in my opinion, is right on key with what we're talking about. Because my thesis statement, literally, and thesis statement, by the way, for those of you that don't know, if this is the first time watching the show, it's the part of the show we come up with a bold idea, something big, something broad, something that is rooted almost like in hyperbole. Should be the greatest this, the best this, the strongest this. Not like this is my favorite this, or
I
this,
really enjoyed this.
this has one of the greatest gunfights of a movie in 1994. It's like, that's not good enough. It should be big. So mine is just that this is the most unintentionally homoerotic blockbuster ever made.
Yeah, that was mine originally too.
It's a little too obvious because it's been talked about at length in
Yeah.
this movie, but I just like thinking about the movie, like it just is the thing that sticks with me the most. It just jumps out at me.
You know what? Then I'm going to use all three of mine then.
All right.
Just because I can. My original one is that this is the most overrated movie of all time.
All right.
And I'm going to get crucified by the audience and Top Gun fans everywhere out there, but I don't like this movie. I don't, and I think I don't like it because people love it so much.
Right.
And I love Tom Cruise, and I love action movies. You guys know that about me. But this movie, I just can't get on board with.
Right.
I don't know if it's because there's no villain. I don't know if because there's not even one sense of danger. And honestly, the whole time that we were watching the movie, I was really looking forward to Goose dying.
Yeah.
Not because I don't like Goose, because that's
Yeah.
another one of my thesis statements, is that Goose is the best part of the film.
Yeah.
But because I thought it was going to bring some realism to the film, some real gravity, like real emotion. Because when I was talking to my friend about it the other day, and I was saying that we're going to do it on the show, and she was like, "Oh yeah, when Goose dies, it just rips my heart apart."
Yeah.
I feel nothing when he dies.
Really?
Nothing.
Nothing?
And I love Goose.
Yeah.
Like nothing. Like yeah, Meg Ryan, his kid and his wife come there. I think they just put that in because you wouldn't have cared if he died if they didn't. Like there's there's nothing going on in that scene. It's just like they're spinning out and blah blah blah, and then he pulls the thing and then he's dead.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they totally pull the rug out from underneath themselves. They
Right.
could have made it so much more dramatic. And then my third one was the best part of this film is the soundtrack.
Which is quite possibly true.
Yeah.
This is in the running for 80 soundtracks as the best. It's got
What, 9 times platinum.
something like that.
Yeah.
It's got Playing with the Boys and Highway to the Danger Zone, both Kenny Loggins tracks. Both are fantastic. It's got Mighty Wings by Cheap Trick. I believe it's got Lead Me On by Tina Turner. It's got Berlin, Take My Breath Away. That's the one. Yeah.
Which they play like 500 times in the movie.
Fantastic song. It's got that song In Your Eyes by
Wait, what?
In Your Eyes is like the most underrated song on the soundtrack.
Which one's that?
In Your your eyes.
Oh yeah, that
I
one.
wanna see your love again.
Yeah.
That song. I love that song. I can't think who does it, but one of my favorites. And there's like at least one or two others that are big, but this movie is fantastic. Oh, the Top Gun theme, the anthem, which I
Yep.
think the guitar is done by Eddie Van Halen, I'm pretty sure. It's just fucking sweet.
The soundtrack is awesome. Like that is one thing about this, but yeah, it's great. They just overdo it
with Berlin, you mean?
with all of it.
For the record, I disagree with Andrew.
A lot of people do. I totally understand, guys.
I don't think that this movie is like dramatically incredible, or like I also don't think this movie holds together as an action movie in the way that some of my favorites do.
Right.
But I think that there's a quality to this movie that people have been aware of forever, which is that it's super campy, it's super silly. I think people like this movie in the way you love Con Air, but I think you went into it thinking that wasn't the kind of movie it was. That's what I think it is. Because Con Air is equally absurd. I mean, Con Air is totally absurd.
Right.
Like, the only difference being, like, maybe Cyrus the Virus is a kind of a good villain, but, like, aside from that, everything in the movie is ridiculous.
I mean, I can agree. I do think that Malkovich and Cage are better actors than Cruise and Kilmer in this movie.
I mean, but whatever it is, I think it's the same kind of thing.
Yeah. It's just 10 years later.
But people don't talk about Top Gun in the same way. Like, they talk about Top Gun like it's one of Cruise's best movies.
I can't fathom that.
Yeah, I think when recently Grantland did before Grantland shut down, they did like a poll. It was like every Tom Cruise character in a bracket.
Yeah.
And I think in the end, Maverick won.
Did it?
It was either Maverick won or it was his character
I remember
from
looking at this.
Risky Business.
Yeah.
Joel, I think. It was one of those two characters.
Should have been him.
Yeah. But I think Maverick might have won the whole thing.
I totally believe it.
People love this movie.
Yeah.
All right, so moving on.
Real quick, gents.
Yes.
Quick correction. The original guitarist was Steve Stevens for the Top Gun anthem.
Oh, okay.
Eddie Van Halen did re-perform it like much later.
Okay.
Got it. Okay. So thank you, Donica.
Yeah.
That's Donica, by the way. Mark Donica. He's our engineer on the show.
Also, Loverboy did Heaven in Your Eyes.
Yes, that's what it is. Heaven
I
in Your
thought
Eyes.
he was saying he was also our lover boy.
That's off the record.
Which we are going to be doing a crossover with Donica real soon for Doom.
Yes.
For video game movie anatomy and action movie anatomy.
Yeah, I'm hoping we can both be in on that, but I think definitely at least one of us will be in on it.
Yeah.
The video game movie anatomy Doom, and that's the Doom, the movie from like 2001 or something.
The Rock.
Rock the Dwayne Johnson.
Yep.
Yes, The Rock. Wow, was it really that long ago?
I think it was like 2005, wasn't it?
I think it was a little early. 03 would be my guess.
Donica. All right.
So we can talk about star profiles a little bit, where these guys were in their career. It's funny that Cruise and Kelly McGillis. It's funny that Cruise and Kelly McGillis are. Oh, you know what? I just skipped, didn't I?
What'd you skip?
I think I skipped fist pump moment. It's important.
It's a very important one.
Yeah, it's very important. I was looking over at you and you were giving me the fist
I was
pump.
giving you the fist pump. I was like, hey, man.
I was like, Andrew's enjoying himself. I was like, Andrew's
changed his mind about this film.
Andrew's in on the show today. Just give me some fist bumps. That's great.
That's
Fist
not
bump
what happened.
moment. We will get to star profiles, guys. Don't worry, we'll break them down. Fist bump moment is the moment in the movie where you're sitting and you're watching it. It's a moment that Andrew probably never had in this film. But you're sitting and you're watching the movie and like something happens and you look around and you're like, are you seeing this right now? Are you seeing this? This is so awesome. You call your buddy and you're like, cue it up to 10 minutes and 48 seconds. I'm going to push start at the same time. Stop talking. I want to watch the scene with you. Get in here. Jeff, get in here. No, I know you're reading it. Just watch this.
Yeah.
That's what fist bump moment is. And it can be anything. It can be a one-liner.
To that extent, that never happened for me in this film, but I do have a sweet moment.
Yeah, I've got a few in this movie. It's a funny one. It doesn't have like dramatic fist bumps, but it has. So playing with the boys.
It has nostalgic fist pumps.
I'm gonna cue up the volleyball scene here because I'm gonna use this as my fist bump moment.
Okay, let's do it.
Which is just playing into the homoeroticism even more.
I thought you were gonna do this as our ultimate action scene.
You stink. Slider. You stink.
Like that's even the worst burn of all time. I don't stink.
The crappy sound effect of a sniff.
Yeah. All right.
Let's go! Okay,
They are real good.
So it's like if we were to learn a lesson from this scene, it would be that like when you and your boy wants to like intimidate another group of dudes,
Right.
You beat them at beach volleyball.
You put your jeans on, and you take your shirt off, and you go to play beach volleyball.
Gotta
then-
tape up. Gotta have protection.
Yeah, right? You hit the ball like that. And then another lesson to be learned is that when you do something cool,
Yeah.
you look at your buddy
And
you flex for him. That's definitely. I'm like, hey Andrew, did you see my move? I'm like, you're like, nice work, bro. It's just what good buddies do.
This is what good buddies do. And competitors. Look at that.
This song was a hit, by the way. Playing with the boys.
Song kicks ass.
This is sweet. I mean, 80s music is the greatest.
My Tom Cruise themed costume party birthday this last year. This was definitely on the soundtrack twice. Berlin
Take
was
my
probably
breath
on
away.
5 times.
Yeah.
All right, Donica.
All right.
You can kill it.
Oh, you can kill me too.
Yeah. So that's my. I think that's my fist pump moment. There's like a bunch of others in the movie that are like pretty hilarious or like weird.
Yeah.
But I think that's got to be my fist pump, just because it's so like, what the hell am I watching?
Yeah, like, why is this happening right now?
Yeah.
Your other one's pretty good too. When Kelly McGillis first walks in the flight academy.
Oh yeah.
That I love.
That's my other. Just right after Cruise tries to pick her up at the bar, and they're sitting there, and she walks around, and Cruise just
She's
notices
like,
that, and he just
God.
puts his head down. It's like that's a funny moment.
That's probably the realest moment in the whole movie.
Yeah,
like
it's-
watching that, I'm just like, I can relate to that.
Yeah.
I've been there.
Yeah. It's
My fist pump moment it's when you see Iceman in the bar drinking what looks like a cup of ice water with his sunglasses on.
Yeah.
Just because I love Kilmer so much.
Yeah.
And to me, like I said earlier, my favorite Kilmer role ever is him as the bad guy in MacGruber.
Yeah.
Dieter von Kampf. But for some reason, Iceman, like looking at him 30 years ago, he still just looks like such a shithead.
Oh, yeah.
And you love to hate him.
Absolutely. Well, I think another like really funny thing about this movie, and I was thinking about this when they're all celebrating at the end. The same as the bar scene. Like, these guys are in school, but they're still all naval pilots. They're some of the best pilots. So like,
Yeah.
as is proven right at the end, like if there's an attack, we're gonna possibly throw you guys into planes to go fight for our country. So the idea that you guys would be able to drink at all,
Right.
allowed, ever, is absurd. Like, I wanted to watch it again when they're all celebrating at the end at the graduation. Like, it looks like a bunch of them are drinking,
Yeah, they're all drinking champagne.
right?
Yeah.
And you're like,
Doesn't he even say something like before you get to something?
Yeah, before we get too out of hand or something. But it's like, I'm pretty sure that, like, and granted, anybody who knows the law on this, quote me, because, like, I could be totally wrong about this.
Yeah.
But I cannot imagine you're allowed to have even a drop of alcohol and get into a $30 million fighter jet owned by the United States.
Yeah, but you never know, man. I mean, what's his name? Meta World Peace used to go in and drink Hennessy at halftime.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
And Denzel Washington landed that plane in flight.
he did upside down,
And he was wasted.
he was hammered.
If we can learn anything.
So Denzel's awesome.
Yes. So, what was your fist moment?
It was
Iceman. Yeah. Right.
So this is super interesting because this, like, we should have done Kelly McGillis because she was second billed, but I did Val Kilmer because this is the beginning of, and because who cares about Kelly McGillis? I'm sorry,
right.
but it's because this is the very beginning of his career,
Right.
Which I actually didn't know that.
Kilmer.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I don't
Well,
know why. I thought he'd done more.
Well, so yeah, definitely the beginning of his career. This is the breakthrough. I would say when you talk to people about their favorite Val Kilmer movies, Real Genius and Top Secret often come up as favorite
Yeah.
cult classics. Like they were movies that people really did enjoy.
Yeah, I still like Real Genius.
Yeah, they're
It's
funny.
fun. Yeah,
they're funny movies. They're entertaining. Top Secret's like really silly.
Yeah.
But this is a different kind of movie. Well, kind of.
it tries to be.
It made a hell of a lot more money than those other
There
movies
he
did.
is.
I've heard in like Top Gun 2, Kilmer will be back. That's what they're saying.
It's on his IMDb.
Yeah, Cruise and Kilmer, and I think the premise is that 30 years later, all of like the jet fighters are automated now, and but they need the best of the best to fly against automated, or because they're just not good enough for something like
Right,
that.
yeah.
These old dogs have to come in
And Viper's gonna be there too.
yeah. The beauty of it is like. The beauty of it is like
Fat Kilmer is the greatest thing I've ever seen. I just can't get over him.
Yeah, it's tough. The beauty of it is just like they're pretty old, and also like
Yeah.
the difference is like Cruise has taken impeccable care of himself.
Yeah.
like remarkable care. Like Cruise, like when he Botoxes and does it correctly, can still kind of
He's
look
like in better shape now than he was in Top Gun.
yeah.
Well, maybe not. He's pretty shredded, but
Like,
yeah.
like if Cruise does it right, like Cruise can look like about 45. Like,
Yeah.
and he could look like a lean 45.
Yeah, because someone in here wrote the ages earlier. I think he's 54 now, and Kilmer's like 57.
Yeah, Cruise might be like 53, something like that. But yeah,
Okay.
he definitely, like, if he does it right, he can look like a pretty young dude. Whereas like Kilmer would have to really get it together.
He'd have to pull a Hasselhoff.
Yeah.
What Hasselhoff just did for Baywatch. Like, he'd have to go into intense training.
But I also think it'd be sweet if he was just kind of like a chubby alcoholic, and they're like, "All right, we need you back.
Yeah,
we need you back, Iceman.
Back, Iceman.
Okay, I'll be there.
You used to be the best.
That's my name on that plaque." Sorry for yelling in the mic audio.
So yeah, this definitely launched Kilmer's career, and it's true what you said that he was contractually obligated to do the film, that he was actually uninterested in the role.
Which is that's another thing that's crazy to me. That's why I pointed it out, is because, like, dude, this is your third blockbuster ever.
Yeah.
Not even, excuse me, your third feature film ever.
Yeah.
With Tom Cruise,
Yeah.
who's on top of the world, and you're playing opposite him, and you don't want to do the film. Like, that's, as I've said before, I'm an actor.
Yeah.
I could not even imagine wanting to turn this film down.
Yeah. I mean, I think a different time back then, but
For sure, but I mean, even then, it's just like, even if I'm getting you put in what I think is a shitty movie with Ryan Gosling or Tom Hardy,
Yeah,
I'm
right.
gonna do it.
Yeah, for
you
sure.
know?
I think so. Let's jump over to Cruise because we can talk about sort of where he was as well. So we've talked about him before, but we've never talked about his career.
Have we talked about him before?
We've never talked about his career this early.
Yeah.
So Cruise's first movie is in '81. It's a movie called Taps, and he's a weird, like he's like a slightly psychotic military student. He's in a movie called Endless Love. He has like probably one scene or two scenes, and then after that, it's pretty much like where this all starts. Because I think the movie Losing It is from '82. Where he and like Jackie Earle Haley and like a couple other people go to Mexico to try to lose their virginity. It's a pretty hard movie to get a hold of. It's real bad. It's like a terrible movie. And then like
You've seen it.
I have, yeah.
Okay, good.
Yep. And then he did Risky Business in '83. So that's the breakthrough.
Yeah.
Risky is like that's the big breakthrough. And Risky Business is the movie that, like, going back and looking back at Tom Cruise's career, you can in a lot of ways argue that Risky Business is the best movie he ever made. Because it's just like
It's so real.
it's so authentic.
And yeah, he's the something that I can relate it to is that it's like Wahlberg in Boogie Nights.
Yeah.
Like when you see someone just kind of being, like authentically just being, and you believe everything.
Yeah. It's great. The soundtrack's amazing. Like, it's just, he plays a high school kid perfectly. And if you go and you compare that movie from 33 years ago to like any coming of age teen drama that comes out today, it really holds up.
Absolutely. We watched it like a month ago, and it was great.
Yeah. So then All the Right Moves is '83, and it's like a football movie. It's like, it's fine, you know, like that was, people like that movie, but again, it was like, it's kind of that, it's the sort of that thing where you have a stud star who comes out in a hit, and then they have some other sort of B movie that comes out the same year, but everybody sees it just because
Just
they're a
'cause,
star.
yeah.
It's kind of like when This Means War came out, and it was like, oh yeah, Chris Pine's like really hot right now, so
Yeah.
we'll just see this movie. And then it's like, and then Legend, '85, Ridley Scott, which is like,
It's not bad.
it's pretty bad.
It's bad.
Yeah, Legend is like one of those movies they just kind of missed the mark on. It's like fantasy, and I think Tim Curry plays the devil, and he's like very memorable as Satan. But
Yeah.
they designed these crazy sets, but the movie was just weird. And then the next movie he makes is Top Gun.
Yeah.
So it is interesting that there was 3 years between Risky Business and Top Gun. I do find that to be pretty fascinating because 3 years in Hollywood is a long time.
Especially for, I mean, I guess he's young, so it makes sense, but someone like Cruise, who was known for having an insane work ethic.
Yeah, right.
It could have just been that he didn't have a lot of offers, you know?
Well, so right around this time is when he's filming. He's working on and filming all these movies because within the next 3 years, he's got The Color of Money comes out.
Right.
He's got Rain
that's
Man
a
that
good
comes
movie.
out.
Yep.
He's got Cocktail that comes out. He's got Born on the 4th of July just a couple years later that comes out. I mean, he was working on huge stuff. This is literally the front. This is where this career just explodes.
Yeah.
But I guess you could liken him in this when he made Top Gun with Risky Business, All the Right Moves, and Legend. I'm just trying to think, like, who can we think of who we've sort of witnessed in our time go through the same transition? I mean, nobody, because nobody's as big as Tom Cruise. but
Right.
A guy who's, like, gigantically big now. I guess it would be sort of...
Leo? Maybe, but his career, he didn't do as many films.
Yeah, I mean, Titanic was the breakthrough.
Yeah, and then there was like The Beach was in there, and
Yeah, I was trying to think, like, if you were to go right before Titanic, what were the movies that he did?
because like to liken someone to Tom Cruise, you have to have seen them on the big screen as what looks like an 18-year-old. You know?
I guess it would be sort of like this. It would be like Shia LaBeouf when he did, I guess, Transformers was his breakthrough. That was the huge breakthrough for him.
Yeah, I mean Holes.
Yeah, but he was so much younger, right?
Yeah.
Holes was like a long time
Yeah,
ago.
yeah, yeah.
But Transformers was like the big breakthrough.
Yeah,
and then
because he did Even Stevens forever, and then he did Holes, and then Transformers is like, I'm grown up now.
yeah, so I feel like when Transformers came out, everybody was like, "Oh, Shia LaBeouf, he's the thing. We want to see him in the next thing." And I seem to remember Eagle Eye coming out, and that movie sucked.
Not good.
Yeah, that movie wasn't good. And Disturbia came out, and that movie was just fine. It's like
I forgot. I completely. That movie's not as bad as you think it would be, but it's not good.
Disturbia's fine.
Yeah.
But I guess so. You could sort of put those movies in the same category. All the Right Moves,
Is
Legend.
that David Morse? David Morse is the bad guy in that, isn't he?
Is he?
I think so.
Oh, maybe I forgot.
Okay. Anyway, sorry.
But it would literally be like if he had done Transformers, he had done 2 others, and then like, oh, it's exactly what happened. He was young Indy in Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
If that movie had been good and he had been the breakthrough to be the next Indiana Jones,
Yeah. Can you imagine?
that's what would have happened.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like the same type of thing. So I guess it's a little different because Risky Business, nobody really knew who Cruise was before that. But it is sort of a similar thing. It's very hard to imagine people actually having that kind of breakthrough in their career.
Right.
It just doesn't happen.
No, not really. And to go on the journey that Cruise has gone on over the last 30 years is that doesn't ever happen.
And those movies we named from the late 80s, post 86, like Rain Man, Best Picture. Color of Money, Best Actor. Born on the 4th of July, he got a Best Actor nomination. Like, that's all in the next 3 years.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And it is also crazy to look at someone like that and that long of a career, and you look at a lot of actors that have those long careers,
Yeah.
or careers that look like they're going to go with that trajectory and they just drop off. It's because the dude he's not an alcoholic, doesn't do drugs, he's not in the news for like sex scandals all the time. Like he took care of himself, and that's why he was able to do this for so long.
Yeah, the only thing that ever derailed him a little bit was the Scientology stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
And the
Katie
Oprah
Holmes.
couch jumping.
Yeah, you can't jump on couches on Oprah, man.
Nope. I think it's a lesson we all learn. Should we get a little bit into production development?
Yeah. This is interesting. I mean, because we've talked about Tony Scott and Don Simpson and Jerry Bruckheimer a lot. This was Tony's breakthrough film. This was the one that kind of put him on the map. Yeah,
so we've said before, he was a guy who had sort of worked alongside Ridley, had helped him on commercial projects. In the late 80s is where he gets his break finally. It's, this and Beverly Hills Cop 2. And this is definitely the movie that he's remembered by for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Which is really weird and bizarre and hilarious.
Because he's done so much good stuff in his career, but this is, I mean, nothing holds as much weight as Top Gun. Even Beverly Hills Cop, True Romance, Crimson Tide, all the Denzel movies.
Yeah, it would be for me. I think if I was going to guess the movies that people associate with Tony Scott, it's this and True Romance, and then maybe to a lesser degree Crimson Tide. But like, I think it's just this and True Romance.
Which is funny because like, they're not super Tony Scott yet.
No.
Like this one is on its way. You see a lot of the filters
at the beginning, the grainy stuff.
Right, but he didn't even do his time thing yet. Like when he did times, they were like 0s and 5s.
Yeah, right.
He didn't do the 12, 37, 17 minutes until this. Yeah.
You know what movie we should do on the show is we should do the Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3.
We've done it. And it's
save yourself.
I will save myself.
You want to handle writing?
Yeah, we'll talk about it a little bit. So Jim Cash and Jack Epps are a writing team. Cash was actually Epps's professor at Michigan State University, and they became friends, and then they became writing partners. And everything that Epps has done is all with Cash.
Okay.
Cash has a few other credits on Kojak and Hawaii Five-0, like the original ones.
Right.
But for the most part, these guys have just been a team writing movies together for about 30 years. Maybe like 20 years. Their most recent thing was Anacondas, The Hunt for the Blood Orchid.
Ooh, it's a good one.
The Flintstones, Viva Rock Vegas.
Oh, man.
Turner and Hooch.
Yeah.
Dick Tracy.
Great.
And Anaconda.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So they're not very good at what they do, but Anaconda is sweet, and Dick Tracy's sweet.
Are we going to do Anaconda on here someday?
We've got to do Anaconda one day.
Like, I don't think it fits any of our criteria.
Oh, it doesn't, does it?
I don't think it does, but it would be a fun one to do.
But John Voight is the greatest thing.
Yeah, he's amazing.
So this whole movie was based off of a magazine article written by Ehud Yone. So he's a journalist and a student in the military. He'd written an article about the Top Gunners for a California magazine. For some reason, a producer read that, and they were like, let's make a movie out of it.
Right.
And this movie became so successful that they started to set up naval recruitment centers in theaters.
Really?
So that when dudes would leave after watching Top Gun, like, fuck yeah, they'd like sign up. And they had the most trainees that year that they've ever had up to that point.
Interesting.
Right?
Interesting. Yeah.
Isn't that great? Like, could you imagine like watching Top Gun and then walking out and being like, I can do that. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna go play beach volleyball today.
Yeah, I mean that definitely was inspiring.
Yeah, apparently. But that's really it about the writing. I mean, there wasn't a lot about it. It was pretty straightforward.
Yeah, I believe Bruckheimer and Don Simpson we covered last week when we did The Rock.
Yep.
We've covered them a number of times. I mean, this is the breakthrough movie for them. You know, Don Simpson did films with Jerry Bruckheimer for 10 more years before he died in 1986. They're just kind of legends. There's just a few guys that are on that level. It's like the Bruckheimers and the Joel Silvers of the world. It's not that many of them. They're always very popcorny, big budget. You know, put the biggest actors in the biggest situations kind of movies.
Yeah, and we've talked about this as like to be those guys, to be the Silvers and the Bruckheimers and the Bermans out there, you have to evolve with the times. And I really think, I mean, if you just to list some of these franchises he's been a part of, is like the Beverly Hills Cop franchise, and then it was Armageddon and The Rock and those type of movies, and the Bad Boy franchise, and then it became the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise,
right?
And then didn't he also do the National Treasure franchise? Yeah, like after that. So it's like he is just a genius when it comes to understanding the evolution of film and what an audience wants to see.
I know, and there's some attitude people have, and I've had this before, where you're just like, look, if you have this much money and access, if you have these kind of relationships and this kind of money, and
you can do anything.
But it's not really true.
No, it's not.
You see a lot of guys strike out. You see a lot of guys they try to do something interesting, they try to do something amazing, and they strike out. Happens a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I almost feel like more so for writers. No, I guess all of them, writers, producers, and directors, more so than actors. It feels like.
Yeah,
it's harder for them to keep evolving with the times.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Because actors, you're handed a script that someone else wrote. That's probably like, I mean, nowadays it's like, well, the kid's 26.
Right.
He wrote the script. Or he's 32, so he didn't have to evolve. I just have to read his writing. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Whereas, like, as a director or a writer, I mean, these guys, for instance, you know, Epps and Cash, that wrote this movie in '86. And then they're writing things like Anaconda, Hunt for the Blood Orchid. You know, like they didn't evolve with the times.
Right.
So I don't know. I mean, it's a testament to how badass Bruckheimer is.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's also to some degree like you're given opportunities based on what people know you can do. Right. So it's like, do you want to try to write that new, you know, cutting edge script that's totally out of genre, or is it like, I have the brand Anaconda, so if I write a sequel, maybe I can get it made.
Right.
And if I get it made, I'll make some money. And who really cares if people think it's quality, because I'm gonna get paid.
Because I need to get paid.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not one of the greatest writers ever, so. Yeah, I mean, that really does it for production budget. I mean, or production development. I'm trying to think if there's anything else interesting. Oh, Tony Scott got fired 3 times officially throughout the filming of this. It didn't say why, but I wish I had more. Audience, if you know anything about it, put it in the live chat or tweet at us, because that's interesting.
Yeah. I mean, probably just something to do with the fact that he was a fairly inexperienced director on this kind of project.
Right.
It's obviously a pretty big budget and a pretty big opportunity to put in someone's hands. So.
Yeah, and dealing with the United States government in film, we've learned doing this show is not easy to do.
Oh, strike that from the record, big budget. $15 million.
Yeah, no, this movie didn't cost anything.
86, so $15 million back then.
I mean, it's still substantial for the time.
But you compare it to other blockbusters from the same time.
Yeah.
I mean, Terminator 2 cost $100 million.
Exactly.
That was 4 years later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like this, I mean, they were smart, but that's the thing about these, again, working with the United States government and the military, is they don't let you do a lot of things. They don't let you take a lot of pictures or film in a lot of their locations. So you have to make it up.
Yeah.
Or you have to just like, you know, the Blue Angels, what are they called?
Oh, yeah. You're talking about the flyovers and the rock.
Yeah, like that. Like, you just film them.
Yeah, right.
You just do that. Or like in Crimson Tide, you just fly over a submarine submerging and you just film it and put it in your movie. Right. So, like, even the rockets that were fired at the dogfight at the end, or, I mean, all the missiles that were fired, only 2 of them were actually real missiles. And the rest of them, you can all see. They all look like fake and drop down and all that. It's because they only allowed them to shoot twice.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Oh, another thing is so all the lead actors got 3 flights in these F-14s to really see what it felt like.
I remember reading about this. Yeah,
Goose is the only one that could keep his lunch down.
Cruise threw up
the first time. The other 2 times he didn't, because of course he's Cruise.
He's Cruise, yeah.
But everyone else did. Kilmer, Slider, everyone.
So one of the Cruise's things you read about, and he's been doing this since the 80s, it's like anytime he's supposed to be a character, he invests completely and totally, right, to absorbing it. So he spent an obscene amount of time in San Diego on base, like, you know, even in cockpits, just getting more comfortable with the lingo and the way it's all supposed to work. Very, very much the same way that for, you know, The Color of Money, he was supposed to be a world-class billiards player, so he just had a pool table put into his apartment in New York, and he played like 8 hours a day for like months and months and months. And that's just what he did.
God, it's so sweet.
Yeah, such a sweet life.
Yeah, and I guess on set during this film, to keep himself as the Maverick mentality, he would do his take, and then he would just leave. He would not talk to or sit next to anyone else, because I think he needed to establish himself in his own mind as, I'm above all of you.
Yeah, right.
You know, like, I'm better than all of you.
Yeah.
So, on set, he didn't really, which is true.
And it's the opposite. It's the opposite for Cruise in real life.
I mean, he's like the sweetest guy. Yeah. Let's talk about budget, because that was crazy when I pulled this up. So Paramount made this movie. I don't know if you saw the beginning on the trailer, that old ass Paramount logo.
Yeah, right.
That was like the oldest one I think I've seen.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
Super old. I mean, 86. We can't think of, is this the oldest? No.
Rambo
and Rocky IV were both 85, I think.
Yeah.
I don't think we've done anything earlier than that, though.
No, I think Rambo's the oldest movie.
This is one of the oldest movies we've done.
So this was 1986, in May 16th, 1986. So we're almost to 30 years. I'm going to go backwards because I think it's super interesting. On its opening weekend, it made $8 million.
Yeah.
And I really wish... Can you do me a favor, Donica? The movie Johnny Be Good, do you know who wrote the theme song for that?
I'll look it up.
Because they were supposed to do music for this film.
Okay.
And they didn't want anything to do with it because they thought it was going to be a flop.
Got it.
And then they covered Johnny Be Good, did the theme or the title song for that, which is also the name of the movie.
Yeah.
And that movie was a huge flop. So they just totally screwed the pooch on it.
Huh.
And I think this is what I find is so interesting. So opening weekend, it made $8 million, which it's okay, you know, especially because it only cost 15. It made half its budget back.
Right.
But what it went on to do was mind blowing. And without social media, that's what's so crazy. Is domestically ended up making $179 million.
Tremendous amount of money against its cost.
Huge.
Yeah.
And then worldwide, $177 million for a grand total of $356.8 million.
Crazy numbers for back then.
In '86 for a movie that cost $15 million.
So here's a crazy one for you. We've got the budget up here on the screen.
Will, in just a second. Jay Ferguson, is that who you were thinking of? That's what I'm looking at.
Yeah.
Judas Priest.
Yeah, Judas Priest. That's what it was.
Oh, it was Judas
it was Judas
Priest?
Priest that was supposed to do a bunch of bunch of music for the soundtrack for Top Gun, and they refused it because they were like, "This movie's gonna suck."
Well, it also sounds like a very un-Judas Priest thing to do.
Yeah, but still, they did Johnny Be Good.
Yeah, that's weird
Yeah.
too. Judas Priest covered Johnny Be Good?
I guess.
They did.
Yeah.
Huh. So if you look at this is the worldwide unadjusted totals for every single movie that Tony Scott ever made, right? Top Gun, even after adjustment, is the highest grossing movie by a mile.
Wow.
Like, not even close. And that's like his first big hit. Like,
And then Beverly Hills Cop 2. Yeah.
if you go by unadjusted, like, his late 80s movies were just massive.
That was 86 and 87, right?
Yep.
Wow.
Maybe 88, maybe 86 and 88. But yeah, I mean, Enemy of the State, Deja Vu, Unstoppable, like, those later movies did not make much money. I thought that was pretty fascinating that even without adjustment, like, it's just enormous.
Yeah, that's one of Denzel's highest grossing movies, Deja Vu.
Yeah.
Because as we've talked about on the show before, he doesn't make a lot of money or his movies aren't huge blockbusters, but that's crazy. That's absolutely crazy. I mean, he peaked in the late 80s.
Yeah.
Monetarily.
Yep.
He went on to do awesome movies like Man on Fire and Crimson Tide.
The Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3.
I was not going to say that. It's almost like his worst movies did the best. Although Beverly Hills Cop 2 is sweet.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so
if it wasn't clear, Andrew hates Top Gun.
I just don't like it. I don't like it, guys. All right, so we're going to move on to our critical here.
Yep.
It's got a 6.9 on IMDb. Outrageous. That makes sense, totally. And again, guys, I don't like this movie, but I totally understand why people love it so much, and that's why I pulled these reviews. Real quick, the presents follows true form, 54%, 56%, and then 83% by the audience.
Yep.
And yeah, so I'm going to read Ebert's here. It's a rotten review. It says, the dogfights are absolutely the best since Clint Eastwood's electrifying aerial scenes in Firefox. But look out for the scenes where people talk to one another.
Great example of a scene. I see some real brilliance in your flying Maverick, but I just can't say it in there because I think that everybody would see right through me. I just don't want them to let them know that I've fallen for you.
And then does he just kiss her?
No, like that's, you don't even need to
You don't
have
even
a
need-
response.
yeah.
It's like the
It's
worst
just,
delivery by a line. You guys think that I'm like overdoing it with
No,
my
that's
line.
exactly what it sounds like.
I just don't want everybody to know that I've fallen for you. It's like, quite honestly, one of the worst deliveries of a line I've ever heard in my life.
It's better. I mean, it's worse than Rambo. You know, expendable.
That's a great line.
It's a good line.
The Rambo line, yeah.
And then the other one is by Elizabeth Weitzman, and I also pulled this because I think it's funny.
Yeah.
There are elements that hold up, especially Cruise's blinding charisma. The aerial scenes are still thrilling and perfectly suited to a giant screen. Everything else, well, that depends on how nostalgic you're feeling.
That depends on how drunk you are.
That is, I think, the truest review, and that's why I pulled it, is because, well, that depends on how nostalgic you're feeling. That's true. Like, that is the thing about this movie.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if I'm too young or if I just missed the boat or what it is, but I don't have that, which is why I don't think I enjoy it. Whereas with movies like Con Air, I have an extreme nostalgic feeling.
Extremely nostalgic.
Extremely nostalgic.
I wonder if Con Air is your most irrational. No, because everybody loves that movie. That's not specific to you.
It's probably like The Patriot or Last Samurai. Those are my highest ones.
Yeah, The Patriot is real sweet.
So we can't do Ultimate Action Scene anymore because Ben used it for his fist bump moment. But in case you guys don't remember, it's the volleyball scene.
I can play it again.
That's okay.
That's okay, Donica.
I got a good fill.
You can leave it off. You can leave it off.
So let's get into our favorite line.
Oh, yeah, it's a good one. Well, I got a few, but I think the most, like, Cruise just being a total fuck line in the whole movie. Because I wanted to use the line I opened with, the sun your ego's right and checks your body can't cash.
That was mine.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's what you were going to use?
That was what it was, yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if I can come up with another one.
It's a classic, but for me, the one that I wanted to use was when he walks into Kelly McGillis' house and he's late already, and he's like, I'm just going to take a shower.
I'm gonna take a shower.
If you don't mind. And it's like, who the fuck are you?
Yeah, like you're late to a date. You're showing up in sweaty ass, dirty clothes. You've just been playing beach volleyball.
You've never been over there before.
And you're like, can I use your shower?
It's like, that's never happened.
That's just a true sign that this movie was made 30 years ago. Because you could just not do that now.
I don't
think
even
you could do it then.
No, I just think Cruise was being a fuck. I think that's part of what it was. It's like, how can you be could you be more outrageous?
Yeah, could you be any more just unaware and full of yourself?
But she's falling for him anyway.
I'm falling for you.
I'm falling for you.
You know what? I think it was just because of you saying it right before it happened.
Yeah.
It's in the very beginning when is it not Merlin? The guy that drops out.
Cougar?
Cougar?
Yeah.
Is that it?
Think so. Cougar was number one. Now you're number one.
I'm holding on too tight.
Oh, yeah.
I've lost the edge, sir.
That's one of the best.
It was just one of those things where I'm like watching this and I'm like, oh, God, here we go.
Who
like,
says
this is like
that?
10
Yeah.
minutes in and like nothing even happened, but it's just perfect for the movie for me.
Holding on too tight, sir. I've lost the edge.
The edge of what, man? There's not even one intense scene in this whole movie.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet.
I find that hard to believe. Do you mind if I?
Oh, please,
answer
please.
My favorite line.
It's definitely better than mine.
I can't quote it, but I can play it. So.
This is actually what I was going to say, but I couldn't remember it either.
Oh, no. It's not a line. It's just Val Kilmer doing this.
Iceman's been trying to get Maverick.
Just that. Right there. Just that.
When he chops his teeth.
Which is also totally something that you would do as a guy to another guy that you don't like.
100%.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
Right.
So we're going to get into the hero and villain ranking now.
Yes.
We didn't rank villains. I don't think Iceman ranks. You don't think Iceman ranks?
Well, it's just because I love Iceman. He doesn't rank, but it's hard.
He's not even Samuel Gerard enough to rank as a villain.
Yeah, he's not even really a villain.
No, he's just a dick.
Yeah, he's an adversary.
But is he really even a dick? Like, he's the best pilot there. Tom Cruise is the dick. Maybe that's my thesis. Tom Cruise is the bad guy in this movie.
I mean, Kazansky apologizes. Maverick, I'm sorry about Goose. Everybody liked him.
And everybody hates you.
I'm sorry. Donica, take my breath away. That was your cue in the silent moment there. No, just kidding.
So Ben, you have Maverick ranked at 27th. It looks like.
Yep, I put him just ahead of Wyatt Earp, but just behind Charles Morse. So you have Mike Banning.
What are you gonna do about?
Yeah, who might just be rising in my rankings. Again, somebody wanted to know about our show the other day, and I told them we had done The Edge, and they got really excited, and I showed them the fist bump scene in that movie, and they were like, I'm watching this. Like, this is great.
It's the best.
Yeah.
Who was that?
Josh.
Anyone I know?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Josh wanted to see it.
God, that movie's so awesome.
He was laughing out loud.
Can we just do that movie again?
I know. The Edge would be top of my list.
What you gonna do, Bob?
What's it gonna be, Bob?
Today, we're gonna kill the motherfucker.
So I didn't rank Maverick.
No hero ranking for
No
you?
hero
Okay.
ranking for me. So we'll get into the movies. This is interesting.
Yeah. So
taking
You
it-
piece of shit.
I also put it in red because it's the worst. I would, and I actually had to sit there and legitimize this to myself.
I
didn't-
would destroy the original copy of this film if there was only one left.
I would go back in time and make sure this movie was never made. No, that's not true. I just was sitting there thinking, because I wasn't just doing this to be a dick, even though it seems like that, but I actually had to legitimize my answer, and I did. I would rather watch every single one of those movies, all 50 of them again, before watching this movie. Even taking a Pelham 123. I would absolutely love to watch Taking a Pelham 123 over watching this.
I understand why.
Yeah.
I understand why. It's,
Even Tombstone, a movie that didn't really hit home with me.
Yeah.
And it wasn't really a true action movie, but I did enjoy it.
Yeah,
Probably
right.
because Kilmer's in it.
He's sweet. That we forgot about that. That's
Yeah, that's a huge one. I don't know how we forgot about Doc Holliday.
Yeah, he's known for that.
But yeah, so truly and legitimately, I would watch every other movie on this list over Top Gun again. And I also was thinking, it's kind of crazy that you and I have watched over 50 movies together in this last year.
Well, and I think more than that.
Well, definitely. I just
Yeah.
mean just for the show.
Yeah, definitely. I'd probably say twice as many. I would
Yeah.
probably go closer to 100.
Absolutely.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, I put Top Gun quite a bit higher. I put Top Gun, looks like at number 19.
Yeah, 19th.
Top Gun is absurd and silly to me, but like a classic in its own right. So like
It is.
not like on the level where I'm going to put it in the same conversation as movies that I think are really good, but like a good enough movie that I'm going to give it credit over Face Off. It's better than Speed. It's better than Tombstone because like it's more iconic. It's like it's not as watchable as those movies, but like it's funny. It's like unintentionally hilarious way more times.
And people are
What?
I just,
Not
kinda-
happy?
They're not happy. They're just kind of surprised.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
That it's the worst movie ever.
Yeah. I understand.
Yeah, so I put Top Gun, it's not the highest, but it's
Yeah, I mean, I actually think you put it pretty high.
it's reasonable. I mean, it's getting way, way, way harder to rank now.
Yeah.
I have a hard time like actually deciding where movies go now. Where the hell is The Edge for me? Is The Edge really lower? The Edge is below Air Force One?
I think it's 5 or 6.
Oh, really? It's not
No,
that
I
high.
have no idea.
No.
That's like for Andrew, I think.
Yeah. No, it's not. Yeah, I think you have The Edge lower. And yes, we do know that they are making, or they're trying to make a sequel to this film.
Yeah.
I think we mentioned that earlier.
I think they're making Top Gun 2 pretty soon. They've
Yeah.
been talking about it for a while.
Because when Tony Scott's untimely suicide happened, he was
Working on it, yeah.
working on scouting locations.
Yeah.
But yeah, we know that, and I'm throwing shade. Ben is not, and this is just my opinion. That's all.
And we'll definitely do Top Gun 2 on the show.
Absolutely, and we did Top Gun because we had to. It's 30 years, and it is one of the most loved movies out there.
Yeah.
So
Very
I'm just one of the minority. That's all.
Yep. Should we get into recast?
We shall.
We are doing a classic modern day recast. We haven't done one of these in a minute, or if we have, I forgot. But we're doing the 5 basic main characters. So Maverick, Goose, Iceman, Viper, and Charlie. Does she have a name in the movie?
It's Charlie.
It actually is Charlie?
Yeah, I mean, well, at least on the credits.
It's not like call sign Charlie or something?
No. Hashtag Charlie.
Yeah, it's Charlie. So that's what we're going to do. So I think we should go back to front. Let's start with our Charlie.
Okay.
So she sucks.
She does. My recast totally doesn't fit, but it's just I had to.
Is it Kenan Thompson?
It's Alicia Vikander. It's not.
She's not very good. She's like just kind of whatever and like pretty
Yeah.
forgettable. So I chose Katherine Heigl.
It's perfect. That's really good. I kind of want to cast the chick from Grey's Anatomy.
Oh, Ellen Pompeo?
Is she the lead chick?
Yeah, she's too old.
gray. Kelly McGillis is like 50 in this movie.
It is weird that she's the older woman in this movie.
She is.
And even though she's like not supposed to look that much older, she like looks quite a bit older than Goose.
Clearly.
And in real life, she's 5 years older than he is.
Yeah, and I think it's because it's like a motherly thing. It's the only reason she can put up with him. I don't know.
Right.
I cast Emily Blunt.
Emily Blunt? What?
Because I love her. And because I'm trying to make a movie here with my cast that I would actually like.
A movie that improves the movie.
For the most part.
Yeah.
But Kelly McGillis, the whole time I was watching it, I'm not on board with her.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
She's not very good in this movie.
Who'd you cast as Viper?
Brad Pitt.
That's sweet.
I thought that because originally I was going to go with Kurt Russell. But I thought that Brad Pitt, like at this point in his career, he seems like he's more willing to take like the weird sort of like B supporting role.
Right.
I mean, granted, he was a producer on The Big Short, which is why he did that. But like, it doesn't seem like if they were going to remake Top Gun, Brad Pitt being the instructor, because Viper is one of the sweetest characters.
Yeah.
Like he might take it. That doesn't seem like that crazy to me.
Yeah, I have like 2 for everything, like
Yeah.
are serious and a not serious. So I have Tim Roth as serious.
For Viper.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
I like Tim Roth.
Yeah.
But for non-serious, I have David Caruso, which I think would be better.
How old is David Caruso
From
now?
Jade?
Yeah.
He's got to be like almost 60.
From NYPD Blue?
From, what is it? Was he CSI Miami? Was it that one? Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, really bad. Who'd you get as Iceman?
So this was the hardest one for me, and this could be wrong, but I at this point I chose Shia LaBeouf.
Shia LaBeouf.
I think Shia LaBeouf could be Shia LaBeouf. Would I think he'd be a strong choice. I could see him wearing the sunglasses. I could see him being kind of a fuck.
You and I like Shia LaBeouf more than almost anyone I know.
Yeah. Well, he's like doing the thing right now that we're talking about, where 10 years from now, after he's won an Oscar, because I guarantee he'll win an Oscar.
He will. He needs to one day.
I guarantee he will. As crazy as that sounds, I know it's going to happen. 10 or 12 years from now, when like Shia LaBeouf is like in his late 30s, it's going to be like, yeah, I mean, he's made all these things I like. Shia LaBeouf's actually just really good.
Yeah,
And
he's gonna
everybody's
come full
have-
circle
yeah,
again.
It's going to be a full circle thing.
We called it here and now on AMA.
Yep.
I picked Chris Pine
As Shia LaBeouf.
as Iceman.
As Iceman.
Yeah.
Okay, I like that.
Did you hear about this guy that looked like Shia LaBeouf and got his ass kicked? And then Shia LaBeouf reached out to him, and they like became friends or whatever.
No, that's amazing.
Yeah, poor guy.
Poor guy, man. People hate Shia LaBeouf.
They really do, and I don't know.
He's done a bunch of weird shit these last few years.
Yeah, I mean, when you go and you in a theater and you watch all of your movies back to back,
And there's and then the thing with him in the elevator, and the thing,
just do it.
Yeah.
There you go. That's it.
just do it. The thing with the bag on his head.
Who was attacked for looking like him? Poor guy.
The thing with the bag on his head. The thing of him rapping.
Yeah.
There's just all these
He's
weird.
awesome.
He's awesome. Totally on board with Shia LaBeouf. I wonder if we could ever get him on here.
Oh, we should do it.
Could we do Transformers? Nah,
Oh yeah, we could
Just
totally
put a
do
bag on somebody's head and say it's Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah, Transformers
Yeah,
has
that's
so
a
much.
good idea,
Transformers
Donica.
has so much canon. It'd be hard to avoid.
I bet you we could do. I bet you we could do it.
Eagle Eye.
We could maybe do Disturbia.
Yeah, I guess we would just bend the rules. Probably would just do
Transformers is sweet.
I love
Dude, you can do
Transformers.
Indiana Jones 4.
Yeah.
Ugh.
All right. So who's your Goose?
So Goose, this was my favorite. So I've used him a bunch of times, right? Danny McBride.
Yeah.
That's who I want to use as
Yeah,
my
you
Goose.
love Danny.
Because
I
I
mean,
think
we all do.
Because I think he'd be hilarious in this role. I think he'd be fantastic. I decided to go with Kenan Thompson because I think it's funnier.
I just don't get it.
Yeah, I think it's funnier. I just think like because like Danny McBride like wouldn't quite be a fish
I
out
went
of
with
water.
Kel Mitchell.
I thought about it.
I didn't.
But I think Kenan Thompson like would be much more like an SNL sketch.
Can he fit in a cockpit of an F-18?
I don't know. That's why I liked it. I thought it was funny. I liked it.
It's like when you see like a 6'5", 350-pound guy like driving a Fiat.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Or just like those giant guys that get in a Porsche.
Yeah.
It's just like very uncomfortable.
So my serious one was Jesse Plemons.
Okay.
I ended up replacing him with either Blake Anderson or Anders Holmvik,
Oh, okay.
both from Workaholics.
Yeah, I thought about for Goose going with Franco. Like,
That's so really
Yeah.
James Franco.
Yeah.
Because I cast his younger brother. I cast Dave Franco as Slider.
yeah.
Because I thought we were gonna originally because he has that such a shithead face.
Yeah. I wonder if Dave Franco could pull off Maverick.
I wonder if he could pull off Iceman.
Yeah, I thought
'Cause I
about
feel
that.
like he looks too hateable.
Yeah.
You don't want to like him.
No.
Which is so funny because everyone loves his older brother, but something about Dave just looks like hit him.
I went Chris Pine as Maverick.
You really did.
I
That's
did.
funny because I actually originally had him as Maverick, but then
Okay.
I was thinking that he looks too much like Iceman in the sense of like he looks like you need a boyish, lovable guy there, whereas Chris Pine looks kind of
Yeah.
like what an Iceman looked like, you know, like the
I just was
confident.
thinking about him in Star Trek.
Yeah,
And I was just
same.
like, he's just too good.
God, that first trailer is so good.
So
for
good.
The first Star
Star Trek 1. Yeah, it's one of the best.
Miles Teller.
Okay.
Because he isn't intimidating looking. You know what I mean?
That's
like
actually really
he's-
good. I
yeah.
could see Miles Teller works really well for
I
that
like
role.
that kid a lot. I really
Yeah.
hope that because I keep hearing that he's a prick. Like everyone tells me he's just an asshole, and I really hope that's not true because I really like him.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't know anybody that knows him, so.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, there are 3 action movie categories, guys.
There are.
And those action movie categories are totally ridiculous, totally legitimate, and ridiculously legitimate. So basically movies that are totally absurd, like fall off the cliff of absurdity, that's like Con Air and Face Off. Then you have movies that are totally legit, so Terminator 2, The Fugitive, and then movies that are kind of right in the middle. They're held together by one compelling performance. They're kind of engaging all throughout. Maybe you laugh unintentionally sometimes, but at the end you're like, that was just a sweet
sweet movie, yeah.
for me, Top Gun is clearly totally ridiculous. Like,
Yeah, I mean, it's not even a question for me. I'm sure there's a bunch of people out there that might put it in the middle category.
it
But
just doesn't have enough legitimacy anywhere.
I laughed the whole time.
Yeah, right.
Like, completely. And I never laughed when they wanted me to.
Now, yeah.
Except for when Kelly McGillis walks in and
Yeah.
Cruz is incredibly
Which is
uncomfortable.
great. Which
That's
is
a
a
great
great
moment.
scene, yeah.
Really quickly, a couple things from the audience. Goose, Liam Hemsworth. It's not bad.
Okay.
Hugh Jackman for Viper is sweet.
I went there.
That's real good.
I had that.
No!
Yeah. I had that, except that I felt like he is like too much of an alpha. And
Right.
you need a guy he's capable of being a little more submissive than that.
Yeah. Iceman, Henry Cavill. Maverick, Nicholas Holt.
Okay.
Those are all good. Those are great, guys.
I don't think Nicholas, well, maybe. Nah, it's pretty good.
It's not bad.
Those are
Yeah,
good.
he's definitely growing on me.
Yeah.
So the last thing that we need to do today.
Well, we'll say it. It's called The Pitch. But guys, we're gonna do this thing, and it's gonna be essentially like a retrospective clip show, because we've done, next week will be our 52nd episode of the show.
It will be.
I mean, if you discredit the 2 watch-alongs we did,
Yeah.
which are kind of their own thing,
Because we took 2 weeks off during December of last year.
yeah, but our like actual episodes of the show, our 52nd episode of the show, and so what we're gonna do is we're gonna each come up with our top 10 episodes of the show. We're each gonna review them. We'll probably pull some clips, some of the funniest moments, because some of you that are listening or watching, I'm sure, have not watched every single episode, so maybe you've missed some of the moments. But for us, this is kind of labor of love. We love this show.
Absolutely.
And it'll be fun to go back and look at some of the funniest moments, some of the favorite episodes, and we're gonna do like his top 10 versus my top 10 countdown to our favorite episode of the show that we've ever done.
Oh man, there's so many things that are just popping in my head right now.
Yeah, so that'll be next week's episode. Same time, same place, 3 o'clock next Wednesday, guys. And we urge any of you that have watched every single episode or most of the episodes, if you want to come up with your top 5 or your top 10 episodes of the show that really stuck out to you, ones that just you just loved.
Or moments, not even the whole episode, but just moments.
Yeah, be with us next week to share those with us and let us know, because we're really looking forward to this. I think this will be a really fun look back at the last year.
Absolutely. And you know what? I wouldn't even mind just a little bit of help, because like 52 episodes is a lot to think back over, and I have like definitely a handful of moments that I really love. But not only if you guys want to make your own list, but if throughout the week you're going back and you're looking or you remember things, tweet at us. I'm at Andrew Ghai. He's at Ben Bateman Media, or at AMA Podcast, and let us know what some of your favorite moments are, because if you remind us of some, we'll just pull the clip and put it up.
Right, because there's been 70 or 80 hours of the show, and like occasionally I'll go back and watch a few minutes of an episode, but I mean, there's just going to be stuff in episodes. There's episodes I can remember, like, I just don't remember that much about it.
I don't remember anything about certain ones. You know?
Lethal Weapon, I hardly remember doing, or like Independence Day, like.
And they're great.
Yeah, we've enjoyed every single episode of the show. So let us know your thoughts, guys, and we will see you same time, same place next week.
Adios.
From producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire Popcorn Talk Network, we would like to thank you for tuning in. For questions or comments, be sure to visit popcorntalk.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of the Popcorn Talk Network.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Popcorn Talk Network or its owners or principals.